everyone, welcome to Center Field. This is a Western Connecticut State University student program, and we have the privilege of following the 2016 WestCon football team. I'm your host, Tiante Best, along with my co-host,
Stephen Wasserman.
And we're proudly joined by the head coach of WestCon's football team, Coach Joe Loth. How are you, Coach?
Doing great today.
That's great. Coach, what's your philosophy in coaching and its relationship to education here at WestCon?
Well, I think coaching is just an extension of the educational process. I mean, in very many ways, we're very similar to the professors in that we're trying to teach, an offense, a defense, a special teams, and then we have to have them perform it, live and all that stuff too. So we're definitely an extension of the educational process. And hopefully in addition to that, we're trying to teach them some life lessons and make them better men.
Yeah, valuable lessons. As you can see here on display, we have all four helmets that represent Danbury football. We have the iconic Vikings helmet from the Pop Warner team. We have the high school team from Danbury Hatters. We have the semi-pro football team for the Western Connecticut Militia. And we also have WestCon's helmet. Can you tell us about the privileges the players and the coaches have from being a part of such a great program?
Well, I think part of the privilege of playing football is not a lot of people can play college football, first of all. I mean, there's millions of kids play high school football, probably, hundreds of thousands play college football, and obviously the funnel narrows as you get to pro football. So just the ability to play football and having the opportunity to play football is a huge privilege. And then on top of that, I think, you represent so many things from former players to current players to coaches. There's a lot that goes into being a current player, and there's a lot that goes into being an alumni and everything. It kind of all ties together.
Okay.
So how do you communicate your plans and expectations to the parents of your young athletes?
Well, I think the parents they get a ton of information in the summer. We send all kind of information when they come to the recruiting visit till the summer. But once the season starts, it's really different than high school football. There's very little communication between the players and the coaches and the parents during the season. It's more before the season starts.
And so what role do some of your associate coaches play as the season goes along?
Well, I think all of our coaches, everyone has their own position group. There's a wide receiver coach, D-line coach, running back coach, offensive line coach, and they all really have their group, and they're responsible for them, whether it's academics, whether it's teaching them what we're doing that week, and they're kind of almost like the little head coach of all their own positions.
Okay, so Coach, how would you promote community support, and if so, how would the players be involved?
Well, community support, hopefully, you're putting a product on the field that they want to come see. I mean, that's kind of the starting point of getting the community involved. And then a lot of the promotion stuff that was through the SID's office and the school's marketing office and stuff like that. So, we don't really go out and hang posters or do anything, or, hopefully doing a show like this kind of, highlights our program a little bit and gives people a reason to come out and see us.
So Coach, kind of a fun question. What are some of your favorite sports books and movies, more specifically football ones?
Probably my favorite football movie is an old one called All the Right Moves, kind of filmed like an 80s type high school thing.
Right.
Classic.
So it's kind of, almost like my high school days a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, Major League is probably my favorite baseball movie, being from Cleveland and stuff. So, and Indians with a big win last night, kind of hopefully it mimics that movie a little bit.
Coach, where do you draw inspiration? And I ask because you're currently 1-4, but you could be easily 5-0. And I also understand that the season is far from over. What does the team have to do in order to break through and recover from previous games?
Well, it's every game's kind of the same. I mean, last Saturday, we lost by less than a touchdown. We had the ball in the red zone 4 times, missed 2 field goals, and didn't score 2 touchdowns. So it's just kind of learning how to finish. I mean, we really need to learn how to finish football games. And like you said, our record could be much improved, but hopefully part of this, what we're going through becomes a kind of a lifelong lesson for our program and how tough it is to win football games and how the little things are so important. And hopefully once we get one, we really go on a roll and win like we have done pretty consistently in the past.
Okay. So continuing off of that, again, it was a 1-possession loss against Bridgewater State. Talk about some of the positives you saw from that game from your team and some things you can improve on.
Well, for the second week in a row, we started running the ball again. And really to win football games, you got to run the football. You got to win the turnover battle. You got to win special teams, and we probably won 2 of those 3. And the one we probably didn't win is special teams. We missed a couple field goals, but we were better them versus punt, better than them versus kind of kickoff teams. So we're starting to do kind of the little things. Just kind of we got to put it all together one week.
So the scoreline doesn't always tell how the game went. So after a tough game like the previous one, what do you tell the guys after the game?
Well, I tell them that once we get one, hopefully we're going to go on a roll because we're not that far away. I mean, we really aren't. So, we always meet Sunday night, and I just talked about, football season is kind of like taking a class. We just got our midterm grade, and we're not happy with it. And really, you can do two things as a college student with a midterm grade you're not happy with. You can either run the other way and drop the class, or you can get some extra tutors. You can dig in. You can do everything you can, salvage that class, and potentially have a good grade in that class. We're kind of at that midterm grade right now. We're not after the midterm grade, and we're going to dig in and do everything we can to get it turned around.
Okay.
So talk about your linebackers specifically as far as the grades they got. How did players like Kevin Maxon fare, as well as Dominic Carr? Talk about some of your linebacking crew. Brennan Diaz as well, who can also play like a linebacker at times.
Yeah, well, Kevin Maxon had a solid game. Didn't have his best game, he had a solid game. Brian Birdsell, for the second week in a row, had his best game. I mean, he had a really good game, and he was the defensive player of the week. And Kevin Maxon played well, but he's actually played a little bit better. He got banged up a little bit. And Dominic Carr got banged up a little bit. He was kind of in and out, and Nick Crowley kind of came in and played for him a little bit. So,
That's football for you.
Yep.
Your D-line as well, you could say that. Haywood Alexander was great. Dennis Flanagan was great. What did you see out of your D-line against Bridgewater?
Well, they did a good job. They kind of maintained their gaps. They put pressure on the passer, and they did what they had to do for us to be successful on defense.
So Mike Washington had a good game too. He had 2 interceptions. I have an interesting story about Mike. So I know over the summer he worked here at Westcon as part of the grounds crew that takes care of the facilities here on campus. So this was late July, early August. I was here on campus actually taking pictures for the show. And I see Mike down on the field probably by himself doing DB drills. I see him doing ladder drills, cone drills, running stairs by himself. Is that the kind of work ethic that you instill into your players?
Well, hopefully all of our guys all over the state were doing the exact same thing at different times during that day. But everyone has a summer workout program, and hopefully they were all working as hard as he did. And that's part of being successful in college is having a great summer workout.
And it was 90 plus degrees. It was cooking outside. So when I see him that dedicated, and then I read the stat line and I see that he had a great game, I'm not surprised.
Yep, he did a good job. And the encouraging thing is 2 weeks in a row, our corners, Jarzik had 3 interceptions the week before, then Mike had 2. And then with us playing a lot of press coverage on the outside, if our corners get an interceptions, it deters hopefully offenses just from throwing fades on them and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So Kyle McKinnon had a pretty strong game as well. This is kind of a breakout game for him. 17 attempts for 67 yards. Talk about his running style and how it differs from the other backs you feature for the Colonials.
Yeah, well, if you look at Khalil Patterson's kind of our speed back, and Mike Nichols kind of our in-between, will make guys miss, but a bigger back. And then Khalil's the old-fashioned downhill, 6'2", 220, just run right at you with the pad level square and try to be physical with people.
And we absolutely saw that against Bridgewater. You would run him right up the middle, and he would just plow over guys and gain that extra yards that maybe someone like Khalil Patterson or Mike Nichol couldn't necessarily do.
Yeah, well, Mike's kind of that back a little bit too, but Kyle really, his first opportunity really to show for us as coaches, and he really showed, we thought on film, and I think Bridgewater left there wondering who he was, and hopefully our next opponents probably looked him up and wondering who he is too.
Right.
And not to be outdone by the other offensive players that you just mentioned, Calamita had a good game too. He had 4 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
Was that his best offensive performance, and was he the offensive player of the game?
Yeah, he was the offensive player of the game. He's had a couple games like that, and he's getting better and better. And like we kind of said all along offensively, whether it's Jawad or Austin or Bobby Durham, who we'll speak here in a little bit with, I mean, everyone's kind of working together, getting better, and hopefully every week we're progressing in that side of the ball where all these new guys working together are kind of hopefully starting to get it.
Okay.
I think this was safe to say, as far as your offensive line goes, this was their best performance of the season. Quinn Fleeny did not get sacked once. What does that do for the mentality of your quarterback, knowing that he's going to be protected for the entire game?
Well, we've had pretty good protection all season. I mean, sometimes sacks are not always just a guy getting beat. Sometimes, it's a coverage sack or some things. So we think pass protection has been one of our better things all year. And I think this was a game that was good and that we had to protect because they had some really good players up front D-line, the best D-line we faced all year. So they did a really good job.
Oh, that's a testament to the O-line.
Yep.
Right.
Got to win with the big boys up front.
Yep.
So you mixed up the receiving core a little bit this week. You had a new receiver in Bobby Durham.
Yep.
You had Mike Nichol playing receiver. Khalil Patterson was out there playing in the slot too,
Yep.
along with Calamita and Chisholm. What was the process into putting those guys in receiver?
Well, part of it, you try to, our receivers, we're basically Calamita and a lot of these guys are taking every single rep. We're trying to find ways to potentially get them off the field a little bit to spell them. So when the fourth quarter, hopefully their legs are a little bit fresher. Bobby's a guy we moved over from defense to offense because he's probably the fastest guy on our team, and we're trying to throw the ball down the field to him. He had a touchdown catch. The week before we actually had him out there, and we got a pass interference against Framingham. Same thing. So he's a kid that we really want to try to stretch the field with.
Okay.
It seems like the norm nowadays at the professional level, college, and maybe even high school a little bit too, is having a quarterback that's mobile, that can move out of the pocket and make plays. So how would you evaluate Quinn Fleeting as far as his talent goes with making plays with his arms versus making plays with his legs?
He's done a good job. I mean, he can operate the zone read game where he can run the ball. In games that we can get him out of the pocket based on what the defense is doing, we try to get him out of the pocket. So that's really a part of his game, is trying to make him a mobile quarterback and using those skills.
At this point in the season, does the team still practice like they're in pursuit of a championship, and how do you maintain a high level of energy at practice?
Well, I hope, like I say every week, you hope that every week, whether you're 5-0, 0-5, 8-2, I mean, you hope you practice the exact same every week. Try not to be too high or try not to be too low. You just try to get that level of consistency in practice, no matter what your record is. There's only 10 games a season, and you really try to, take advantage of those 10 opportunities and practice consistently every week.
Okay.
So something that I'm sure you've been wanting to work on is the turnover game. And I know it improved a little bit versus Bridgewater, but what are some of the certain strategies and drills you do to try and prevent turnovers?
Well, like I said, we do ball. Obviously we'll do ball handling. We'll do make sure running backs do a good job as far as hanging on to the ball. Our defense, the thing we've seen the last 2 weeks, our defense has started to cause turnovers. Mm-hmm. And every week they do turnover circuits, and whether it's interception drills, fumble drills, and offense, you're always trying to do stuff where you're not turning over and doing drills and that stuff. So it's something you constantly work at. And hopefully, like in the pass game, as our receivers get more experience, our quarterback gets more experience, they're just on the same page more. We're not potentially throwing an interception where guys running the wrong route at the wrong depth and stuff. And so that's, it's always a work in progress.
Awesome.
Okay, so you've had nearly a full week of practice. And after guys have received their grades from the previous week, who are the guys you expect to make the most improvements on offense and defense for this upcoming game?
Well, hopefully everybody. You know what I mean? Especially offensively. The thing we're doing is we're getting some yards. We're just not scoring points right now. So hopefully everybody takes that next step where we really click. And we've led the league in scoring 3 years in a row, and now we're not scoring points like we're used to. So we need to get back to that level of efficiency, and precision on offense. And that's the word I used a lot last week with our offense, as far as especially our passing game, is we need more precision.
Yeah.
And in our run game and stuff like that, we just got to be more consistent. So we're used to scoring points. We're used to being successful. So we think we have the systems in place to be successful. We think we have the kids in place to be successful with them. It's really continually to take those next steps. And then defensively, I think we're running a great system right now, and we're playing good defense right now and continuing to do the same things on defense.
All right. Well, thanks, Coach. And coming up next, we'll be joined by your star athlete, multiple positions, Captain Bobby Durham.
Okay.
So stay with us here at Center Field.
What I like most is the faculty.
Being able to be in that small type of classroom setting, being able to have that one-on-one with the professors has helped me grow more.
I have seen jobs put up by huge corporations. They're looking for Westcon. Our students are the students who are actually prepared.
This past summer was a research assistant, which is something I would never expect to be able to do going into my sophomore year of college.
Which makes it really easy for us to just hop on a train, go down there. I mean, I saw Howard Zinn, who's a great American historian, and Eric Foner, who's another great American historian, and it was a quick train ride away.
You know, it had the best program, the faculty. It has a lot of credentials. It's affordable. It's really close to the city.
The people in my classes and the professors are like a family.
It's family here. That's something I couldn't feel anywhere else. That's important.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Center Field. I'm now joined by my co-host, Chris Walker, and WestCon's star cornerback and receiver, Captain Bobby Durham, and the head coach, Joe Loth. Bobby, welcome to the set.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you for coming. Bobby, where are you from?
I'm from New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay, that's not a long commute. So, which of your family members comes from New Haven to the home games?
My father comes, my son comes, and my girlfriend comes.
Okay, and I ask because as a former player here, I do know as when you're walking out of the locker room, you can look up into the bleachers and you can see your family up there. You know, that definitely gives you motivation during pregame.
Yeah.
I just want to suggest that, you cherish those moments.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's definitely inspirational. I won't be the same without them.
Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give a high school football player that's interested in playing for WCSU?
I would tell them to be prepared to give everything they have. When you come in, you want to be really focused, school and with football. So just be prepared to give a lot of your time and a lot of just to learn organizational skills while you're here, because it's very professional.
Okay, so you're a captain, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how many years have you been on the team?
I've been on the team for 4 years. This is my fourth season.
All right. So can you tell us about your maturation process from your freshman year until your senior season when you were chosen as a captain?
Yes. When I came in, it was more so like I wanted to be more so like, the shining star. Like I wanted to be the guy on the team. But I understand through the years, I understand that it was a team game, and it gave me a sense of professionalism with the process of how the team went.
Yeah.
So on and off the field, it made me more professional with my lifestyle.
Okay.
Now, I know you got to have some kind of pregame ritual. So, like, what's your pregame meal, or do you go to the trainer's office, or do you watch film? Like, what do you do? What's your ritual?
Oh, well, my pregame meal, I eat a bowl of cereal in the morning just to,
Fruit
get everything,
Loops.
Fruit Loops, to get everything running, get the blood running right, the sugar running. And I eat a banana, and then we have team meal. We eat real good. We have like chicken and like pasta, so it keeps us balanced. And my ritual, I send a text to my girlfriend before every game. So
You're a heartthrob.
Yeah. I need that motivation, that love.
Yeah,
So,
you gotta have it. So a lot of defensive secondaries have team names. Does WestCon have a team name? If not, I might have a name for y'all.
Oh yeah, actually, the defensive core, the DBs, they call themselves top 5. We try to be the top 5 in turnovers in the nation.
Ooh.
So that's really the goal coming into every game. So we call each other top 5.
I like top 5. See, I was gonna go with Colonial Cartel.
Colonial Cartel.
Yeah, sound like some real hitters out there.
Yeah, that's official.
Top 5 Colonial Cartel.
Yeah, that's
take both.
official. That's official.
So, as a student athlete, how have you managed to balance your academic schedule with football?
Oh yeah.
Well, after every practice, you take a shower and go get your meal, and I try to hit the library around like 8 o'clock and get like an hour and a half in of studying, homework. So I try to do that either every day or every other day, just to stay on top of my game, because it's really like time flies.
Yeah.
So you putting a lot of energy invested in both. So you really have to have great organization skills.
Yeah. So we'll talk about last game now. So the defense came up huge again on Saturday. They only allowed 2 touchdowns while on the field. What keeps the defense so fresh every game?
Well, I think we have a real solid system of defense, first of all. What we're doing really ties together from our base package to our nickel package, and kind of it's got a lot of moving parts that all fit together pretty well. And once you start playing well on one side of the ball, there's a camaraderie and kind of a motivation to continue to play well. And I think they're really a tight unit right now, from the coaches to the players. And I think they like playing with each other, and I think it's they've got a good process going right now.
Yeah, team camaraderie is very important.
Definitely. So Quinn Fleeting has been kind of beaten up this season. He's been sacked 16 times. He's been picked off 11 times. How's his confidence right now?
I think Quinn's a confident kid. I think he knows he has a lot of ability. I think he knows, just kind of like we know in offense, that once we hopefully get this rolling, that we'll roll a little bit on offense. So I think he's a confident kid that's definitely moving forward and looking and knowing that his best days are ahead of him.
Okay, so knowing that he is confident, and if you want to boost his confidence, you let this guy play receiver. So, Bobby, how did it feel to go from cornerback to receiver?
It felt good. I'm accustomed to playing that position because I played it at my prep school before I came here.
Okay.
So it just felt like I'm home again.
Nice.
Now, Coach, the offense didn't look as it normally did. With Mike Nickel, he didn't run much. Bobby Durham played wide receiver, as we've been talking about, and McKinnon was doing most of the running. Is this a long-term thing or just a one-game thing to shake it up?
Well, I think running backs, we had 3 good running backs. And if you saw Mike, he was in the game a lot, especially on third down and passing situations. And we played a little bit of receiver. We moved him around a little bit, same with Khalil. And I think we have 3 good running backs, and we're trying to figure out the best way to utilize all 3 of them.
Okay, so Jawad Chisholm had 1 catch for 18 yards. That's not the Jawad we know. So how do we get Jawad to improve for the next game?
Well, I don't know if Jawad has to improve. I just think sometimes what teams do dictate what you can do offensively. I mean, but they're by far the most talented defense we played this year, and they did some things that we tried to utilize what we could do best against what they do. Our strengths against their weaknesses a little bit.
So I was thinking about you, Bobby, and I'm like, who does this guy think he is? So I'm like, this guy plays receiver, cornerback, punt return, kick return. This guy thinks he's Flash. 1996 Cordell Stewart. It reminds me of a do-it-all kind of player. So those Pop Warner guys, remember that soft chin strap with the bar down the middle? When your T-shirt hangs out the bottom of your jersey, your knee pads are down to your shin. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
You
about.
remind me of those yes coach kind of players. So if we were to role play, have you taken improv classes here at Westcon yet?
No, not yet.
All right, we got improv right now. So you are you.
All right.
Captain Bobby Durham.
Okay.
All right, and I'm coach. So all you always say to coaches, yes, coach. All right. So in the game time situation, he says, Bobby, we need some action. We need you to go out there and get this punt return and kick turn. Can you do it?
Definitely, Coach. I got you.
All right, Bobby, we need you to go out there and we're switching it up. We're gonna run a 3-3-5 defense this week. You're gonna come down and play dog as a linebacker. Can you shut down that tight end at 6'5", 250?
Yes, Coach. Whatever you need.
I know you can. Bobby, we need a touchdown. Game's on the line. Can you go and play receiver?
Most definitely, Coach.
Yeah, see, we're one of those yes coach kind of players, and that's what captains do. That's what big brothers do. Those are the expectations that you have for yourself, and we see you delivering on that. So the freshmen who watch you do it, they're gonna, aspire to be like you. So I hope that you continue to play on this high level because it's gonna improve Westcon's program moving forward and for this upcoming game.
Definitely.
Yep.
I will.
Yep.
Now, Coach, Mass Maritime just had its first shutout in a decade against Fitchburg State. How do you prevent this from happening?
Well, if you watch the film, they held Fitchburg to 122 yards offense. I mean, they played really good defense. They played good defense for the last, 3 or 4 weeks. So, we've got to be able to execute our offense against their defense. So hopefully we match up well. I think we match up pretty good with these guys. So hopefully we can go out there and, like I said, I've been saying every week, hopefully our offense kind of finds their way and we kind of start rolling here a little bit on offense.
So, Bobby, at this point of the season, what's the energy like in the locker room?
We're still motivated.
Good.
We still believe because the games that we've been losing, it hasn't been by a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just, we just need to mesh a little more. But we're getting there. We're getting to that point.
Okay.
Now, Bobby, as a captain, you have to kind of talk in the locker room, I would imagine, more than other players. Now, what are you saying to the team after such close losses like the ones you've had all season, and what's the mood in the locker room?
The mood in the locker room is like we're just a play away. So I mean, we're so motivated on like we need to make that play now because it's been like a couple games where we've been slacking a little bit, but I feel like we're there. Like mentally we're there. Like we didn't fall off anywhere. So we're ready. We're focused.
So you're definitely a leader. So tell us about your co-captains and their leadership role.
Oh, well, we all on the same page. We all feel like we were just one play away.
Yep.
So we just come out to practice every week. Like in the beginning of the week, we just focus up early,
Yep.
so we could just keep that momentum going, you know, because some teams, they probably get down off a couple losses, but I feel like we still got that vibe, that energy where we feel like we still could win it all.
That's right.
So
That's good.
Now, Coach, your team's averaging over 9 penalties per game at this point, and some of them are unsportsmanlike penalties after the whistle. What are you telling the team to try to get them to be more focused or stop taking penalties?
Yeah, well, I think we're 6th or 7th out of 10 in penalties right now, so obviously we're not where we want to be. And, it's something that we talk about all the time. It's a constant battle, and the penalties you worry about more than anything are the ones that happen before the whistle or after the whistle. Meaning a pre-snap whistle where someone jumps off sides or when the play's over and you do get a late hit or a penalty like that. So it's one of those things that, with turnovers and penalties, all the things we're, trying to focus on and get better at.
So moving forward to this upcoming game, how's practice this week?
practice was practice. I mean, every week, every week we're going with the same attitude, same motivation. So it's nothing that it's probably a little more intense this week, if I could say anything, more intense, because we really feel like we need this win, and I feel like we're gonna get it.
Good.
Coach, I know the stats and the numbers say that you guys are 1-4, but what have you seen in Quinn Fleeting that you really liked this season?
Well, I think if you went to our last game, you saw he throws the deep ball extremely well. I mean, he really throws it as well as any quarterback in the conference. He operates the zone run game really well, and like I said, he's got a level of confidence that I think that you want in your quarterback.
So, Bobby, as a guy who plays on all three sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams, what does your scouting report consist of?
My scouting report, well, for most of the part right now, I'm focused on offense. So I'm mostly like scouting the defense, corners, safeties, just seeing different areas where they're lacking and where I could beat them at.
Right.
Coach, the offense is scoring just under 20 points per game right now. Who is that on? Is that on the offensive line? Is it on the quarterback or everybody?
What's on the head coach is who it's on. If we're not scoring points, not living up to our expectations, it's on me.
Okay, so Bobby, which one of your teammates challenges you the most?
I feel like Lucas. It's the receiver right behind me. I feel like we're a play away from swapping positions. So he just keeps me on my A game. Every day in practice, like he's making a beautiful catch. So I feel like I got to make another catch. So it's like we're motivating each other. We're keeping each other on our A game.
Yeah, it's good to have teammates like Lucas because iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, definitely. He's a competitor. So yeah, definitely iron sharpens iron. Definitely.
When you play against wide receiver, is it based on your skill set, or does the down and distance determine who you're going to cover?
When I play against receivers, it's more so. Every play I'm trying to lock them down. So you can never take a play off. Yeah. So whatever down the distance, whatever down it is, whatever time of the quarter it is, you got to focus in mentally, and that's what my head coach told me. Just focus on every play.
Yeah, stay focused. And Coach, can you just tell us how good would a win feel this week for you mentally and for the team?
Well, I think we need to win this week. Just like we've been saying every week, football, you put in so many hours every week. You put in so many hours in the offseason. You put so many hours in the summer that winning or losing, you need to win. That's part of why you coach and play football is you need to win football games.
Okay, well, Captain Bobby Durham, Coach Joe, thanks for joining us this week. We hope you get that W. We need the win. It'd be great to, win this week and then carry the momentum on for the rest of the season. And thanks for joining us here at Center Field.